Bristol Community College, Mathematics with Dan Avedikian, Math 131, Elements of College Mathematics, Section 1.1, Problem 18. This is problem number 18 from Section 1.1. Starts off, Manny Two Fingers Medeiros runs a knife sharpening business on Robeson Street in Fall River. After being open for 2 years, Manny's business earns $27,000. And after being open for 5 years, Manny's business earns $63,000. If you happen to know that the growth of this business is linear, find a linear equation that relates how many years the business has been operating and how much money it earns. And use your linear equation to determine how long it will be before Manny's business earns $100,000. Then it says for 2 extra bonus points, estimate the monthly expenses on Band-Aids and eye patches. Now hopefully that's going to be 0 if Manny's careful. So I was just in to be funny. But the rest of it we can find. So this is a pretty long problem. It goes on for, a whole paragraph. But the parts of it that you need to know are essentially you're given the coordinates of 2 points. It is asking you to find the equation of a line. So to find the equation of a line, you need to know either a point and a slope or 2 points. So that should be the tip for you that, to fill out that formula, you should look for a point and a slope or 2 points. And it winds up being 2 points. So the 2 points that are given, the first one is, after 2 years, Manny's business earns $27,000. So that will be the point 2, comma, 27,000. 2 for the number of years the business has been operating, and $27,000 for how much it earns at that point. And the second point will be 5, 63,000. The question says after 5 years, Manny's business earns $63,000. So that gives you another point. 5, comma, 63,000. Now, if you notice, I made the number of years the x-coordinate and the amount of earnings the y-coordinate. I did that just because the number of years is mentioned first in the explanation. You could do it the other way if you're consistent. Make 27,000, comma 2, and 63,000, comma 5. I took it in this order just because the question mentions it in that order. As long as you're consistent, you can do it in either order. So we're going to have to fill in the formula for the equation of a line, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And we've used this before. Again, certain parts need to have a number value plugged in for them, and I will underline those parts. y1 is one of them. I'm going to need a number value for that. M is another one of those parts. I'll underline that. And x1 is another one of those parts where we need a number value for, and the rest of it can stay, and then we can simplify it at the end. Now, the given information is really the coordinates of 2 points. This one is mentioned first. The 2, comma 27,000 is the first one mentioned. So its x-coordinate I will consider to be x1, and its y-coordinate I will consider to be y1. And the other point that's mentioned second, the 5, comma 63,000, I will consider to be point 2 because it's mentioned second. Therefore, its x-coordinate of 5 I will label as x2, and its y-coordinate of 63,000 I will label as y2. And now I can just fill this in. I can see that I'm going to need the m, or slope. So what I can do is off to one side a little bit, just compute the slope so that I'm able to plug everything in. So if you remember, the formula for slope is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And now that I have my 2 points labeled with the x1, y1, x2, y2, I can just plug this in. The numbers are fairly big, but if you need to, use a calculator. So y2 is what I need first, and I can see that that is 63,000. Now I have minus as part of the formula y1. y1 is 27,000. And then in the denominator, I start with x2, which I have as 5, then minus x1, which is 2. And now if I do that math, my slope, or m, on top, if I subtract 63,000 minus 27,000, that is 36,000. And then 5 minus 2 underneath is 3. Now that will reduce. I can just pretend it's 36 divided by 3 is 12, and then I put the 3 zeros back, 12,000. So if you don't feel comfortable doing divisions like that without the calculator, take your calculator and do the numerator, 36,000, divided by the denominator, 3 equals, and your calculator will tell you that the value of the slope is 12,000. And again, it's positive 12,000. The slope can be negative sometimes, so this is positive 12,000. Now I have all the pieces. I'll go back to my formula for the equation of a line, the y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, and I have all the number values for everything that needs to have a number value. So y minus y1, the value of y1 is 27,000, so I'll put that in, equals, the next piece is m. I had underlined that also, and because of our work over here, I can see the value for m is 12,000. And then x minus x1 was 2. So now this is the formula for the equation of the line that relates how many years Manny's business has been open and how much money it earns. It's not solved for y equals mx plus b. We can certainly do that if we like. Clear the parentheses and cancel the 27,000 on the left. But really what we're looking for doesn't require us to do that. You certainly can if you want. What we want to know is how long will it take before Manny's business earns $100,000. So with this equation, we can put in the 100,000 and figure it out. Now the question is, do we put in the 100,000 for x, or do we put in the 100,000 for y? Because that makes a big difference. So the way I decided to set up the problem, it's the y coordinate that represents the money earned. So I'll take the equation that I have and put the 100,000 in for y. Because the way I did it, if I put in the 100,000 for x, I'll be figuring out how much you'll earn after 100,000 years of being in business, which you could calculate, but it wouldn't really be anything useful, I don't think. So y represents money earned. I'm going to put in the 100,000 for y. And again, 100,000 because that's what the question asks me to find. So y minus 27,000 will become 100,000 for y minus 27,000, which I'll figure out in a minute, equals 12,000 times x minus 2. Now, to solve for x, the first thing I'd like to do is get x out of the parentheses. So I can clear the parentheses, 12,000 times x and 12,000 times negative 2. And I'll leave the left side. Well, I can simplify the left side a little bit. Why don't I do 100,000 minus 27,000? So if I subtract that, that'll be 73,000 on the left, equals, and now I'll clear the parentheses. 12,000 times x is 12,000x. And then 12,000 times minus 2 is minus 24,000. Don't lose the minus. It'll make a big difference in your answer. So now I want to solve for x. So I'd like x by itself on one side of the equation. What I'd like to do is combine this minus 24,000 on the right side with the 73,000 on the left. So to accomplish that, I am going to add 24,000 on both sides, the right side and the left side. So when I do, on the left, 73,000 plus 24,000 will be 97,000. Now again, I feel comfortable doing that without a calculator. It doesn't mean that you need to do it without a calculator. It takes seconds. And on the right equals 12,000x. And again, the negative 24,000 and positive 24,000 here cancel off. So I'm almost at the point where I can get x. What I need to do is divide both sides of the equation by the value that's in front of the x, which in this case is 12,000, and I'll have x by itself. So 97,000 divided by 12,000 will equal x. Now that's not something that's easily reduced in your head. So with your calculator, you'd want to enter the numerator of 97,000 divided by the denominator of 12,000 and hit equals. Now if you do that, I happen to know because I did the problem out a minute ago, it'll come to 8.083333, and the 3's go on forever. So it'll take a little more than 8 years for Manny's knife sharpening business to hit a $100,000 earning. And if you like fractions better, that'd be 8 1/12, or 8 years and 1 month, actually. Or if you put 8.083333, that's fine too.